That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, and now Roku TV. We're glad to have you with us. On today's show, we've got somebody who is near and dear and close to my heart, a good friend of mine who has been doing so much for the community lately. And for people that always want to say, where's the money? He's been able to help them in many more ways than one. I met him when he originally had Dream Funded, which was helping so many different business owners in the community. And now he's coming back to introduce to us something new. Yes, the CEO and founder of Our Zone's Manny Fernandez. Welcome back to the show, Manny.
Thanks for having me, Aaron. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you with us. Look, the moment you said to me that there was a new program involved and it was something that was pretty new, a lot of people didn't know about, but they could save their money and help reinvest that money in the places where it actually makes sense, you had my ears right from that moment. Can you tell our listeners what exactly this program is and how it's going to help them?
Well, it's called Opportunity Zones. It allows people that have capital gains to defer their capital gains for 7 years when they invest in they call it a Qualified Opportunity Zone Fund. I'll tell you more about that in a moment.
Okay.
But the benefit is they can reduce 10% on their tax bill, not pay taxes for 7 years, believe it or not, capital gains taxes. And when that fund is over, they don't pay any taxes at the end of the fund. No new capital gain taxes. So
really?
Over 10 years, yes.
Okay, and most people would say, well, Manny, come on. I've heard these type of things before, but I understand this is very legitimate. It's something that's been enacted not just too long ago, but a lot of people still don't know about it.
Yes, it was originally created based on Congress. They call it the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which allowed for one section of the bill was called Opportunity Zones. And people started using it before the actual rules were created, which started last month, which is January 19, 2020.
Okay.
But it's pretty amazing that, Senator Tim Scott, one of the architects of the bill, said over $67 billion was actually committed to these different low-income areas nationwide.
Wow,
yeah.
Wow. That and the communities, I can imagine, and it's not just communities, it's businesses too as well that can benefit from the receiving funds. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So,
it's within all the different 8,700 different zip codes and targets throughout the country. I mean, a lot of them are just in the lower income areas, if you look at it that way.
Well, and taking you back, I mean, this isn't really your first rodeo. I mean, you've made your money, and for those that don't know, angel investor, you've helped some companies and businesses go from where they're at to the next level quite impactfully, I might add. And yet, at the same time, this kind of all takes you back to your roots. Is it true that you actually made your first income or your first real money in real estate?
Absolutely. My little small boatload of money from affordable housing and places like Sacramento, where at the time was called low-income areas, but they really changed and really improved over time.
Now, I got to ask, real estate is something that goes a little bit over my head, although for, I think, the majority of people out there, I think it goes over their head as well. So let me ask you this. If you were on the opposite end, how could somebody that has maybe never been privy to real estate, how could they perhaps get in on this? Because I understand it's kind of a thing of which you can be on both sides of the spectrum, right?
I think education is tremendously important. So sites like OurZones.com, one can go there and sign up and set up for some free training on some of the basics. We're going to do some in person and do some online. So that once a person understands something, they reduce their fear and then more apt to do something and own more properties.
So Manny, help me understand this, like a real world example. A said investor has a certain amount of money. How would he benefit from this special program?
Say, for example, if an investor had $1 million in capital gains taxes and they invested that capital gains in, say, one of our funds, they were able to keep that in the fund for 10 years and say that $1 million becomes $3 million. And average capital gains is somewhere around, again, based on a person's tax situation, but say if it's 24%, they don't have to pay any taxes on the gain. So they're saving $240,000 on that new money that they made.
Wow.
It just basically allows a person to defer their taxes, make money, and do good at the same time.
Well, and that's almost unheard of in today's economy, where people say, well, okay, I've made this amount of money, I've got to pay taxes on it. They're going to pay taxes regardless. But then to be able to do something really worthwhile. And on the opposite end, how is that helping communities and areas that really need the help? And what does that involve exactly?
Well, when the fund puts the money together, so say, for example, I'll have a fund and I'll be the manager of that fund. I have that track record of knowing how to acquire the property, buy the property, have it fixed up, and have it rented or have it resold to a new homeowner. So what that does, it helps vacant properties become usable. It helps take raw land and build new projects, new properties. And it just helps create more what they call economic growth in the neighborhood. It takes it from underprivileged to nice neighborhood where it have working class families and reducing the crime. It just changes the whole environment, the whole city.
And it's funny, I partook in a certain survey up here in the high desert, which actually asked that very question. How do you deal with or eliminate or reduce significantly like the crime involvement in a particular community? And one of the suggestions was help fix up the community, fix the broken windows, fix the driveways, fix things so that people feel good to live there. And I'm understanding this program does exactly that.
This is one of the biggest programs in America's history that can do that. And this is not funded by the government. They're giving the power to the people that have the tax money instead of paying taxes to go through this program. Therefore, they get a tax advantage. So those people that are looking to invest, just pay attention to the manager that makes a good decision and then see how that can help the community and help themselves at the same time.
Now, Manny, I understand this is, again, kind of your first love and not just helping people in real estate, but I understand you kind of have a personal story there in real estate as well involving your mom. Can you share a little bit of that?
When I was a teen, my mom had a hardship. She was illegally evicted, which was a tremendous thing because we thought that people were fair. And I remember her calling a police officer and talking about, hey, I paid the rent, here's the paperwork. And the police officer said it was a civil issue. I'm like, what is a civil issue? That was the first time I heard that word. Right. Meaning she had to go to small claims court to try to defend herself by the allegations. And in the meanwhile, we're homeless. So that was hard. But that fight of understanding law made me more mentally strong to understand that we live in a country not of men, a country of laws. And that encouraged me to say, Mom, we're gonna fix this. And then at the age of 20, bought my first investment property. Part of that, got a property for my mom, and it was just out of that experience, it just pushed me to say there must be a different way. And most people think you have to go to the bank, get a loan to buy a property. There's so many different ways to do so. Right. It reminds me of many of the people, like here I'm in the LA area, good people working hard. They've been paying their rent, but yet the barriers of them owning a home is almost impossible for either their credit or they want to verify income. That's one of the programs we're going to be using this Opportunity Zone funding by helping a few people in the community that are renting to become a homeowner. So it's not just about fixing the windows, it's also about helping people move up in the economic world, if you will.
Well, and I love it. And I understand that your entry level into, like, for example, if maybe you don't have a capital gain, can anybody else that has some money be able to invest in this and, of course, earn the rewards down the line from this?
We are filing, which is called a Regulation A Plus fund that allows everyday people to invest. So if you don't have capital gains, you want to invest alongside of some of our investments. So you're going to get the return, not that tax break. That will be available in a couple of months.
Oh, very good.
That's why people can sign up on ourzones.com and join our wait list. So when it happens, you'll be a part of it.
Wow, nice. Okay, so again, just recap really quick. So if I've got a capital gain, I know I'm going to have this. I know I'm going to have to pay taxes. Obviously, what's the next step?
Next step, you join sites like Our Zones, where there's a marketplace where you can see different investment opportunities. Okay. They're all qualified, filed with the IRS. They investigate the manager. If they like the manager and they like what the manager's going to do, they put the money in the fund. So they invest. The manager will then make the investments, update the investor, and that person will then be able to not pay taxes. They file a simple form with the IRS. Again, for 7 years, no pay taxes on that money that would normally go to the IRS, which is very, really painful, right?
Right, for all of us, trust me, yeah. And we wonder where the money's going to go in the end. We just trust and we hope that it's going to go in the best places. Yet in this way, you can almost ensure the fact that it's going to the right cause.
Correct. And plus you get a tax break And then you can see maybe your people around your community, their lives are improving because of your tax money. Instead of paying it to the IRS, you're directing it yourself. And the interesting thing about it is, like, most people don't realize a lot of people have retirement money.
Right.
And they're not directing it themselves. Like, today is a historic day. The Dow went down, probably the biggest drop in American history because of the coronavirus. A lot of people's income, not income, but their savings just went down in terms of retirement.
Right.
Some people don't know they can take that money, use a self-directed IRA, and invest in one of our funds, and then they have something safe and secure over time, which is real estate, versus this up and down that's taking place right now in the market.
Yeah, very good point. Well, Manny, it's been a pleasure. I'm so glad you came in here to give us this latest information. And I understand this is pretty breaky, so I appreciate you coming in and telling us how this is best for not only the consumer on the receiving end, but also the person who has some money lying around, or they want to make the most of the money that they currently have. Sounds like the best way to go.
Yes,
right?
our zone is about making money and doing good, backing local operators, real estate operators, building local communities where, people can drive and see their investment versus somewhere in Timbuktu. They don't know how things are going. They can get in their car one day and see how it's changing the community. And that's what we're doing with our zones. It's just play word off of the word opportunity zones, meaning our communities.
Okay, so again, for that person wanting to invest, what's the least amount and the most amount that they could put into this and be tax deferred up to, what is that, 7-10 years?
7 years.
7 years. Okay.
And then don't pay any taxes after 10. The minimum we start with is $5,000. So they have a minimum of $5,000 capital gains. That's what we work with.
Now, and I want to go back to the really quick moment. You kind of blurted it out there. You said, again, 7 is tax deferred, but after 10...
After 10, there's no taxes on the new gain. So if you invest and the investment grows 10 times, you don't have to pay taxes on that 10 times return.
Wow. That's better than any CD I've ever seen. So there you go, or any investment that for that matter. Okay, well, Manny, thank you so very much for coming in with us and bringing this news to us again. It's OurZones.com. That's where it's at. Manny Fernandez, everybody. We got to take a quick break here on the morning show, but when we get back, we got more right after this. Stay tuned.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.